It's interesting. This is pretty neat. This is pretty cool. So I don't know how long this music's gonna play for. It's intro music, but I guess it's gonna go on for a few seconds. This is neat. I just wanted an excuse to try this this Giphy special report feature on Facebook Live. I thought it was pretty nifty. I've seen it for a while and haven't used it. Okay, I think we're back. That was off to a really solid start, right? So the first ever Facebook Live and the Facebook Ad IQ, and it goes down in the first 30 seconds. So that's solid stuff. I had to switch to my cell service. I'm probably gonna get fucking murdered by Verizon this month. What I was saying is I wanted an excuse to use this cool Giphy filter because I think it's fun and cool, and I haven't had an excuse to use it, so I'm going to use this Facebook Ad IQ, Facebook Live Q&A as an excuse to do it. So I think what you can do is you can comment hashtags below, and they'll show up here as topics. And I think that's what this little thing, I'm going to follow my finger across, comment a hashtag, and that'll pull up any of the topics that you want to talk about. So we're back to a good start on cell service, so I think everything's coming through. Quality looks okay, and yeah, so basically I just wanted to structure this as a pretty informal, open Q&A where we can talk about any questions you guys might have in regards to Facebook advertising, anything beyond that, not just Facebook ads. So do you have an e-com store on Shopify that you want to learn how to optimize? Are you looking for cool apps to add? Are you looking to increase your AOV, your customer lifetime value? Are you looking to do things with Messenger, text, email? I mean, we do so much at our agency that I'm a pretty open book and would love to talk about any topics that we might that people in this group might have. Obviously, the category of this group is Facebook Ad IQ, so most of the conversations geared around Facebook ads and smoothies. So yeah, I'll kind of leave this open. I think I probably should prepare a little bit and written down some material to talk about, and didn't do that because this is kind of off the cuff and decided I just want to do it. So I figured if I didn't just set a deadline of today, I probably wouldn't get done. What I can talk about, while anybody can kind of chime in with questions and it'll stop what I'm talking about, is just some of the stuff that we're doing internally and stuff that's working for us right now, things that we're testing. So one of the biggest things, and this was kind of what I got from the poll that we ran in the group the other day, is the Messenger side of things. So we're doing a ton of stuff with Facebook Messenger, and we're seeing really good results. Curly, yeah, that's a great one. I'd actually love to. I actually want to use this feature at some point to invite people in. Because you can actually pull in live viewers, interact. So I'd love to at some point actually, like, there's so many smart people in this group and doing really amazing things. And Kirill's actually one of them. He's doing really exciting stuff with manual bidding on Facebook. Probably knows more than I do when it comes to manual bidding, just based on the stuff that he's saying. So I think going forward, that's one of the things I'd love to do, is in these kind of group Q&As, be able to pull in other people to talk to. That was awesome. I don't even know how to explain which is that. I guess it's raining likes right now, so I don't know how that happened, but this is fun. This makes it a lot more exciting because we're using this crazy filter, and crazy shit's happening, and I don't know why. So this is an adventure for both of us. But back to the point, and I'd love to be able to bring in other people who I know are doing really exciting things and are incredibly smart, way smarter than I am, and have them discuss topics that are interesting to them. So in regards to manual bidding, we've definitely been experimenting a lot in that space, a lot more than we used to, especially for campaigns that we're scaling. Basically, I think what I'll talk about before, because manual bidding is an intense topic. It's an intimidating topic for a lot of people. I know for a long time, even myself, I didn't touch that variable in Facebook ads. What was that coming in for sure? Yeah, so yeah, so we'll try to start on your schedule next time. I'll try to do them early in the day because I know everyone's on a different schedule, but yeah. So in regards to manual bidding, that was a variable that we didn't touch for a long time, primarily because when you look at an ad set in Facebook, there's so many variables that you can already play with. Obviously all the demos, all the interests, behaviors, and all the exclusion audiences. You have 1 day click, 7 day click, 1 day click, 1 day view. You have the time periods. There's just a lot of stuff going on, right? And so adding an additional variable of manual and auto bidding just makes it that much more intimidating. So I know a lot of people totally avoid it. I think the other reason that people avoid it is partially Facebook's fault. And Facebook has been doing a lot of things lately in the ad creation process that don't make a lot of sense to people, or they're misinforming people. And what I mean by that is, if you go into Facebook, and they had to kind of roll this back a little bit and look at the ad set creation, where your budget is, they have this nice graph there that says, hey, you're spending $100 a day and getting 10 conversions. If you spend 1,000, you get 100 conversions. And they give you this estimated bar. The problem with that, I'm going to try to switch back to Wi-Fi also, because I think now we're good. And I'm going to wrap you over here. So it's basically giving people this assumption that, hey, if I spend 10 times more, I'll make 10 times more money. And that the reality isn't the case. People are taking their budgets from $100 a day to $1,000 a day and losing their shirts and not making any money. So what I mean, what's going on there is the same thing that's going on with bidding. So when you go to bidding and manual bidding, you see that they give you a suggested number, right? So it's usually the suggested bid is $30. And it doesn't really matter what product you're selling, the demographic, the margins, the price point, none of that really matters. They kind of give you the standard out of the box option. And the problem is a lot of people see that and they say, hey, my CPA for a manual bid on average is $30. That's what Facebook is suggesting. Maybe it's from $16 to $40. That's the range. But I need my CPA to be $8. So why would I, bid $30 when I need to be at $8? And so that, like, right off the bat, turns pretty much everybody off on manual bidding, and they just go away. And I know a few years ago that was my case too. I said, this doesn't make sense. I'm not going to bid $30 on an average CPA when it needs to be $8. In reality, that number doesn't translate to what you're actually going to end up paying on a CPA basis, what your cost per purchase is going to be. The reality is that's just what you're bidding, how much you're willing to pay to acquire that customer. So what's happening there essentially is you have thousands and thousands of business owners every day, advertisers, probably way more than that, trying to get the ideal customer, right? So you and 10,000 other businesses might have the exact same ideal customer. That one person who's the perfect customer that if I get my ad in front of them, they're going to buy my product at the best price. Facebook's it's a marketplace, so it's bid based, and so if you're an auto bid, Facebook's going to kind of intelligently try to determine the best price to bid to get the best possible return. The people that are bidding more, if you're getting smart and you're testing bids and you're trying different bids, you might actually find that at a certain bid level, you might be able to get that person every time over the competition. And so what I mean by that is, you might be paying a little more to acquire, get in front of the right customer, but more of the right customer is going to buy, so your conversion rate's higher and your costs are lower, your CPA is lower. So there's a lot more mathematics that go into what you're bidding, and I think that's the confusion there. So I just want to get that off the cuff before we even talk about manual bidding. Is there's a lot of confusion around what that number actually means and what that suggested bid means. So let me first say, don't be turned off by Facebook's suggested bid, because that's not what you're actually going to be paying, or at least most likely not going to be what you're going to be paying on a CPA basis. So we're finding on our end, and Kirill, if he's still watching, can back me up on this, because he's doing, yeah, Jason, I was going to actually talk about tools in a second. That's a great point. So Kirill's crushing it with manual bidding. There's a lot of good Facebook groups on here where they talk a lot about manual bidding strategies. Everybody has different strategies. Sorry about that. I had do not disturb on, so my phone calls can still get in. So, everyone has kind of different strategies and philosophies. Some people like to 2x the average bid. Some people like to 3x average bid and then work down. Some people like to start at the suggested bid. Some people, there's a lot of strategies. What I will say for 99.9% of people watching, use a tool called Companion Labs. Jason just pointed that out below. Companion Labs is without a doubt the one of the most valuable tools you can use to increase your ROI for Facebook ads. It's a great tool. Basically what you do is you create your ad set, and at the end of it you just put the word bid test at the end, and within 15 minutes you do a hard refresh on your ad manager. They'll create I believe it's 10 duplicate ads, splitting that top budget off. So if I have one ad set that I'm going to test and I set that at $100, it's going to create 10 ad sets, each with $10, with different bids, intelligently determined based on, you know, their algorithm they have, from low bid to high bid. So it might start at $16, go up to $60, depending on the product, depending on your historical ad records, who you're bidding after, all that stuff. So Companion Labs, awesome product. It's a great tool to get started in the manual bidding space, and it'll definitely help you really get the best bang for your buck, get a lower CPA. Because also keep in mind, to scale Facebook ads, you need to have bigger audiences. And I think that's a huge misconception that I've seen also, and a lot of really smart people, really good Facebook guys and girls I've seen talking lately, especially Facebook ad buyers, are talking about this disconnect of people that are just getting into the world of Facebook ads have this conception that I need to have a really, really small audience, that my audience needs to be 50,000 people, 100,000 people. It's got to be really targeted. That's how I'm going to make money. You know, what ends up happening is the more narrow your audience is, the more expensive it's going to be to reach those people. Because remember, and that usually shocks a lot of like amateur, new people to the world of paid media, and it shouldn't if you just think about it, right? If I'm looking at a smaller and smaller audience, that means that those people are more relevant to me, that are more valuable to me. I'm going to pay more to reach a more refined group of prospects, right? So just envision it. If you're a salesperson and you're going to go pitch a product and try to do a big close. I don't know how these people keep getting through with my do not serve button. If you're from Cranberry, New Jersey, stop calling me. So imagine you just go to a mall, a big mall with 10,000 people there, and you just do your sales pitch in front of everybody, right? Probably wouldn't pay much to pitch that audience. It's not relevant. It's a big audience. They're not interested. That's not what they're there for. Now imagine you get 25 people, the most qualified, warm prospects that are in your market, they're the buyers, and they're there to hear you pitch. Who are you going to pay more to pitch? You're going to pay a lot more to pitch 25 people than you are 1,000 random people. And that's the same mechanics, right, of Facebook ads or any type of paid media. Is the broader the audience, the lower the CPM, the cost per thousand impressions, the cheaper it's going to cost to reach a lot of people, but it's not as defined. The smaller your audience, it's going to be more expensive. The challenge is that you can make good money quickly with defined audiences. So if you have a really, really niche product and you have 4 layers, right? So when I'm saying, layering and detailed targeting, you're not growing the audience, you're using and statements, not or statements. So you're saying people that like digital marketing and Ryan Dice and Shopify and who make over $100,000 a year. That's a defined audience. It's 4 layers. So the person that you're hitting has to match all 4 of those criteria. That's a defined audience. You might get some great conversion out of the gate. The problem is, even if it works really well, where do you go from there, right? If that's a 50,000 person audience, 100,000 person audience, you can't scale that, right? What do you do? Once you hit a frequency of 3, 4, 5, that audience is done. You got to start back from scratch. And so you need to think about what's that middle ground? What's that audience that's targeted enough that it's relevant? It's not just everybody on Facebook, even though I know some people that target pretty much everyone on Facebook and they make money. But they're big enough that when I find a winning ad and a winning bid and all the winning variables, I can scale that to spending thousands of dollars a day, tens of thousands of dollars a day, and not worry about the ad being totally fatigued and exhausted in a week. And so that's something that everybody needs to understand when you run Facebook ads, that you shouldn't be, and I don't know where this kind of notion, I love the animation. Giphy did a great job with this. I hope more people create like Facebook Live programs like this, because this is pretty fun. So you need to, I would say between 1 and 3 million people is a really solid audience size. And ironically, the lookalike audience is about 2.01 million people. So when you make a lookalike audience, that's the 1% audience that Facebook gives you, is that size. That's not by coincidence, in my opinion. So I think that's the type of audience you need to look for. And so instead of focusing on 5-6 layers of targeting and having a 100,000 person audience, focus on finding a solid interest, solid behavior, solid source data for a lookalike, then focusing on the variables you can control. So I actually, there's a cool strategy that I hadn't been aware of, and I probably should have, and I was reading about it yesterday. Let me give the guy credit. On Digital Marketer, they posted a blog, Russ Henneberry, and let me pull up the guy's name, because I hate when people give strategies and advice and they don't actually attribute it back to the person whose idea it is. That drives me insane, and it's happened to me a lot. So I'm a big proponent of giving credit where credit's due. So let me just, one sec, I'm just going to pull this guy's name up before I go into his tactic that I think it's just pure gold. Let's see, Michigan method, here he is, okay. So Ralph Burns, I don't know him personally, he's agency CEO of Dominate Web Media. He was talking about the strategy called the Michigan method in this digital marketing article, and I thought it was an incredible strategy. I've done variations of it, but the way he does it is really brilliant in my opinion. And so basically what he does with the Michigan method is, and when I find something cool that I like, I usually go all in on it. So I created a bunch of campaigns for different ad accounts last night using it, and they're doing really, really well out of the gate. So basically here's the kind of the common way that most people build ad campaigns, right? They create a campaign, big bucket that fits a lot of things under it. Then they create an ad set, and that ad set might have 4 or 5 interests in it. It might be just men, it might be desktop. It has a bunch of different filters in it, right? Options in it. Then they might add 4, 6, 8, 9 ads below that, right? And they'll create a few different ad sets, and that's their campaign. So the challenge with that, and I've kind of talked about this for years now, is when you start like that, and you have a campaign strategy like that, it's really tough to identify what's moving the needle and what's holding you back. And so if you have an ad set, and that ad set has 10 interests in it, behavior, demographic criteria, a lot of moving pieces, and that campaign kills, that ad set kills, do you know which of those variables actually was the primary driver? And even more importantly, do you know the ones in there that might have been holding it back? Maybe they're the bad options. And so I talked a while ago about when I start testing, when we start new campaigns, we usually start single interest. So we'll create a bunch of ad sets, and each ad set will just have a single interest in it, or a single demo or behavior in it. And the reason we do that is because we can get quick data out of the gate of, okay, we're targeting just Shopify here, and this campaign kills it. And then this one we're targeting Gary Vee, and this one sucks. No offense to Gary Vee, usually it's the other way around. Then we know that going forward, we're not going to do any Gary Vee targeting. We're just going to focus on Shopify. And then we're going to combine Shopify with a bunch of other audience interests in those single tests that work together and make a really powerful audience. So that was something we've done for a while, and it's worked well. The Michigan method kind of takes it a step further. And so basically what this method does is creates I think it's 803 variations, because that's the zip code in Michigan. I think that's where he got the name from. And he does that by taking, instead of creating an ad set and then having 6 to 9 different ad variations under that ad set, he actually creates an ad set for each ad. So let's say you're targeting Shopify. Instead of having one ad set of Shopify and then 9 ads, he has 9 Shopify ad sets, and each one of those Shopify ad sets has one unique ad in it. And then he does that for all of his interests. And at the campaign level, instead of just a big bucket for the campaign, he'll have campaign for desktop, campaign for mobile, campaign for Instagram, campaign for right column. And so each ad set in there is not just Shopify, it's Shopify desktop. And each one of those might run $5 to $20 a day test budget. What's really brilliant about this strategy is that you take control of everything, and it's true multivariate testing. It's a true A/B split test. The way Facebook does the split test with your ads under one ad set isn't a true split test. It's not a true multivariate test. because Facebook essentially is weighting it using their algorithm of where the budget's going to go. So you can actually have an ad, one of the 9 ads under an ad set, that might be the home run ad, but for whatever reason, Facebook's allocating most of the budget to 1 or 2 of the ads. And so you never get enough data on the one ad to tell that's the winner. And what ends up happening after a while is you just turn those ones off because they don't have data. Maybe they got one sale, but it took too long, etc. So what this method does, it allows you to really hone in on each individual ad, each individual interest, each individual placement, and know at a big picture level all the best of everything. And that's where you focus your scaling on. You turn off losers quick and you scale winners fast. The other beauty of this method is that it's broad, right? So you're targeting single interests, and those might have anywhere from 1 million to 5 million people in it. So that gives you scaling potential that you can really work with and you can grow into. So Michigan method, yeah, definitely. It was seriously like, I read about a lot of different strategies, tests, tactics from a lot of smart people. This is one of the cool, like the best strategies that I've seen in quite some time. So Ralph Burns, if anybody knows him, tell him I loved his strategy and giving a lot of props on here. I'm going to post it in the comments. So that's the article on Digital Marketer. And there's a few other really killer strategies in there as well for copy. Best ways to write your copy, etc. Molly Pittman has a strategy in there that works really well. So Michigan method, really, really cool strategy. I just started testing it last night, and I'm seeing huge results. I'm seeing, $1 to $5 purchases on a ton of different audiences. Obviously, I'm testing hundreds and hundreds of ad sets and ads. So there's a lot that don't have any purchases because they only spent $5-6, but I'm getting single-digit purchases for dozens of ads. And the cool thing with my company, Startup Drugs, I implemented this last night, and I finally am getting to test ads that have always been in ad sets, but I've never gotten budget allocated to them. For whatever reason, Facebook just didn't put money to them. So I had this kind of customer slideshow ad that cycles through in a video slideshow, a bunch of customers, and I had it in ad sets after ad set after ad set for a long time, for the last 3 or 4 months, and it never got more than 5% of the daily ad budget. So it never got data. I never saw if it worked. That one's crushing it right now because now it's isolated, and so it's getting 100% of the daily budget on an ad set, and it's doing really well. So Michigan method, just killer strategy. I highly recommend it. It's unconventional because it's, a lot of people talk about kind of too much cross-pollination. You got too much overlap between audiences, and there's a drawback there. I haven't seen personally any negative outcomes of that strategy. And I've read up on a lot of it and haven't really encountered anything. So definitely recommend checking it out. Let me see. So Jeremy, when do you kill the ads? After what reach? So this is a good question. The rule of thumb, pretty much across the board, is 8,000 impressions per ad. That's kind of the magic number that Facebook has set internally. If you create automation rules in Facebook, which if you don't know how to create automation rules inside Facebook, I got to do a webinar on that because it's been a game changer for me. If you run an agency and you have a lot of ad accounts, you need to leverage automation rules to scale our ads. Basically, we have it set so every 3 days, if an individual ad set has a cost per purchase below X, it scales it by X%, by Y%. And that's single-handedly helps scale tons and tons of winning ads for us. It made us a lot of money. So, I got 3 thumbs up rainbows or, rain clouds, whatever these are. So 8,000 impressions is the rule of thumb, that at least Facebook rule of thumb. It's worked pretty well for me. I would say that it's circumstantial because there's some retargeting campaigns where the audience is small, the CPMs can be really high, where you might not get 8,000 impressions before you need to make a decision because you could lose a lot of money. So, I mean, not a lot of money in grand scheme of things, but for small business, it could be a lot of money. So 8,000 is kind of a good benchmark, but it has some room to be flexible there. Jason, I'm just using Power Editor. I've tested a lot of software. I get kind of regular basis people that'll message me and say, hey, I'm building on a new platform for building Facebook ads or a new analytics platform or whatever. And so I test a lot of things. I'm kind of a purist, and I've loved Power Editor and used it since day one, and it just does everything I need to do. I can create 800 ad sets in 10 minutes, and so it's super fast for me to create things and scale things. All the platforms out there are great though. Like AdEspresso is a great platform. There's no knock against AdEspresso or any of the other platforms out there for managing your Facebook ads. I'm just a fan of Power Editor, and it gets the job done for me. A lot of our accounts are whitelisted, so we get new features, new bells and whistles that aren't open to the API yet, so we would only be able to access them inside Power Editor. So things like being able to target groups and run ads in groups are new features that are rolling out, and so be able to beta test that is really cool. That's going to be a huge one. In case you guys haven't heard about that, basically Facebook has capped its newsfeed ad capacity. It can't serve any more ads in newsfeed, so Facebook needs to find new revenue streams, and so they need to look at what mediums can we run ads in that we're not running ads in. Obviously, Instagram was a big one. WhatsApp, they got Messenger. Groups is going to be a big one. So being able to run ads inside groups is going to be a huge. I think there's a billion groups, some crazy metric. So running ads inside groups is going to be huge, and be able to promote your group that way is going to be great. So that should be really exciting coming up soon. All right, let's see. So that answers Jason's question. Anybody else got any questions here? I would love to, because we were talking about manual bidding, and I know Kirill, you're one of the go-to guys there, and you're doing a lot of exciting stuff. If you're up for it, I know it's like 1 a.m. by you. I'd love to give you a few minutes to chat about something exciting you're doing. Totally up for it. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you're not up for it, we can always do something next week or later this week and talk about manual bidding, because it is an exciting topic, and pretty much other than Messenger, I think it's one of the biggest topics that people ask me about on a regular basis. Or we can talk about minions. I don't quite know how it works. If you type those in, what happens? Hashtag pizza. We can talk about pizza. Or we can just sit here in silence and I can drink a smoothie. So one of the things I can talk about, I'll talk for a little longer, and until people get bored and I can tell that nobody wants to listen anymore. So Messenger right now is by far our most exciting opportunity on Facebook, in my opinion. We're seeing just off the charts engagement. Now I'm really curious, Cody, what happens? Hashtag pizza. Nothing happened. That was the most depressing letdown ever. I thought there'd be a pizza emoji or something. So that was pretty uneventful. So for us, Messenger has been just an absolute game-changing medium for engaging our prospects, engaging customers. We're seeing huge open rates and click-through rates on Messenger. We just sent out one right now to Kevin's list. Yeah, so Carol, we can do it later this week, because I know it's probably late there and I put you on the spot. So we can do a manual bidding segment at some point. Let me just wrap up my Messenger talk, and then I can talk about creatives. That's a great question, Jason. So that ties into Messenger. So I think they're going to start cracking down a lot more on Messenger violations. I see a lot of people now starting to catch on to the ability to message people who would comment on your Facebook post. Frank Kern just did one the other day. It's becoming really popular. ManyChat, that's one of the pro features now, is to be able to integrate with comments. So basically, in case you don't know what that means, is I can post something on Facebook, I can do an ad, and then I can grab it in ManyChat and basically tag it. So anybody that comments on that post will automatically get an opt-in message. They'll get a message from me, and if they reply to it, they'll get subscribed to my chatbot. So it's a huge win for advertisers. It's an incredible tool to engage your most engaged prospects. The problem is you need to be explicit on people opting into your bot. And so if you use ManyChat, they tell you, they give you, you got to basically check a box saying you've informed people that they're going to be subscribed to a chatbot and be messaged when they comment. A lot of people are not putting that into their copy on their posts. So a lot of people are just posting like they normally do. They're using this feature, and so I comment on an ad or a post, and then I get a message from the page, and now I'm subscribed to their chatbot. That's a big no-no, and Facebook's definitely going to crack down on that in the coming months, without a doubt. I think that's the biggest violation I see people doing, and the most kind of exploitation happening on Facebook Messenger. I think the big problem is that like a platform like ManyChat is super white hat, very compliant. There's a lot of kind of gray, black hat companies out there building software just for that, and they're not putting any type of information in their interface telling their users they need to do that. So I don't even think it's the user's fault. I think a lot of people doing this don't even know that's against Facebook's rules, unless you actually follow their terms of use or you use a white hat platform like ManyChat. So if you are doing that, make sure you always put something in there saying, hey, P.S., when you comment, we're going to message you. And you don't have to do it boring, right? Hey, you're going to be messaged. You can do something like, hey, when you comment below, you're going to get this magical present delivered to you via Messenger or something like that. So it's fun. People expect it. We'll typically do discounts or promos or some type of reward or incentive for people to do it. It's a great tool when used correctly. The other big one, and it was a lot easier to do this kind of inadvertently with ChatFuel than it is ManyChat since we switched over. But technically, you're only allowed one broadcast to your subscribers that's promotional or has an ad in it. After that, your broadcasts can't contain promotional material or ads in them. So I get one follow-up. So once you've opted into my chatbot or subscribed, I get one shot to follow up with you. And I can send you whatever I want, obviously within the scope of Facebook, but I can send you to a product page, I can send you to a sales form, I can sell you something, promote something, whatever it is. I get one of those. After that, I can only do broadcasts to people if it's like content or just information, or if they've been active with my chatbot in the last 24 hours, I believe is the rule of thumb. So I can actually pull up the exact rules real quick. Yeah, so promotional broadcasts can contain ads, promotional materials, but can only be sent to subscribers who are active in the past 24 hours. So anybody that's not been active in the last 24 hours and has received one follow-up already cannot receive a ad or promotional broadcast. So that's another one that people are breaking. They're breaking that rule, and that might be trickier for Facebook to crack. I mean, she'll figure out a way, but the comments one is much easier for them to crack down on because it's very, very obvious, and I'm sure they get lots of complaints about it. So that's a great question, Jason, and I definitely think they're going to start. I mean, they've gone all in on Messenger, so they're building the team, they're rolling out a lot more features, and so I'm sure they're going to bolster up their compliance team and have a lot more monitoring going on around the clock for all chatbots, especially now that they have discovery. So now your chatbot can be discovered organically and found. So there's so many reasons to be involved in Messenger beyond just the obvious of the click-through rates, and the open rates are like 10 to 20 times higher than email and on par with text, but free. There's also the fact that it helps you with your discovery. It helps with your page response time. You get that badge that you're 100% responsive. It helps just keep your customers happier, more engaged, more responsive. It helps you mine a lot more data from them if you're interactive. I know ManyChat today or this week just rolled out a new module for pro users where you can actually ask questions in your broadcast messages and then just do quick replies and store that data. So it's a great tool for prospecting. It's a great tool to warm up leads. It's a great tool to upsell customers and continue to develop that relationship with customers. So yeah, ManyChat is what we use for all of our chatbots. We have a lot of them, and we're seeing really, really great results. If you have a Shopify store, it's a no-brainer because Shopify auto subscribes your customers if they check in, but most people check in. So anybody that buys from your Shopify store, for us, it's like 95% of people subscribe to your Messenger bot because they get auto shipping updates, they get customer service updates. So that's a free list that you're building every time somebody buys from you. So like Startup Drugs, our active subscriber list is 720 people, and we just started it, a month and a half ago, and haven't promoted. That's all just from people that have opted in to our Facebook Messenger. So yeah, Messenger is huge. I think I'm going to do a webinar on it and kind of dive a lot deeper into our strategies, into our automation sequences, into how we grow our subscriber base, both organically and paid, using Messenger ads, how we get kind of increase our lifetime value of customers with sponsored messages. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we'll talk about in that post. How important is social proof on your Facebook brand pages? This is another good one. I think social proof's always important in my opinion on both the post and the source page that's actually posting it. I would say, personally, I think it's more important on the actual ad itself or the post itself than it is on the page that's posting the ad or the post, just because, a far greater percentage of people are just going to look at the ad and see the ad and judge it a book by the cover. Then they're actually going to click through to the page and then make a decision on whether to buy or to interact with the ad based on that. That being said, I still think it's incredibly important to have a solid foundation of both likes and content on pages for two reasons. So one is for obviously the social proof validation, the fact that people may come through to your page and check it out before making a purchase decision. The second is a lot of people are just kind of creating pages overnight, creating ad accounts, running kind of shady ads and kind of vanishing. And Facebook's definitely getting more intelligent around that and kind of looking at pages a lot more. Facebook's over the last 6 months has put a lot of time on the ad platform into variables beyond just the ad. So it used to be, they would just look at the ad, and that's how they judge whether they'd approve it or reject it. Now they're looking at the landing page. They're looking at the later, man, have a good night. So they look at the landing page now. They're looking at the actual quality of the product, because there's a lot of these Chinese companies shipping inaccurate products, crap products, and people are getting them and getting scammed. So they're really looking at a much more robust picture of that business than just the ads they post. So having a page that has high quality content that's posted actively, that's posted frequently, is super important. So Jason, use getsocialproof.com to get social proof landing page, product page. Yeah, I haven't heard of that tool, but I'll definitely check it out. I know there's a few good platforms out there that can help with developing social proof. I think obviously that's kind of just selling 101. People like third-party validation. So the more people that say they like a product or they bought the product and talk about how great the quality is and the experience is, the more likely that person is going to pull the trigger and make the purchase. It obviously depends too on the product, right? So, if you're selling a $5 fidget spinner, probably don't need much social proof, right? People know it's going to be kind of a low-quality product, doesn't cost me anything, the shipping can be more than the product. But if you're selling a $900 product in a new category that people aren't familiar with, you're going to need some social proof, right? You're going to need third-party validation. You're going to need probably somebody in the field that can talk about it from an authority standpoint, credibility standpoint. You're going to need customers, testimonials. That's critical. And social proof goes beyond just the likes and comments on the ad. It goes through the retargeting, right? And obviously the landing page, but through the retargeting, follow-up. Are you using video testimonials to follow up non-buyers? Are you using customer photos? All those important things are in the follow-up with the within your retargeting sequence. Yeah, the social proof's cool. GetSocialProof.com, Jason. That's a great find. I'll have to share that in the group. I like that a lot. But yeah, people are ad blind nowadays, so there's it's so easy to create a Facebook ad. It's getting a lot more competitive. Consumers are getting a lot more blind to it. It's getting harder and harder to kind of just get that quick sale on most people. So the need for more social proof is definitely important. This is great, Cody. Cody's just teeing me up. It's like I'm just texting you what to say to me. Yeah, so Snibbly's great. I can keep going. See if we can make it a full hour before I just get exhausted and pass out. So I actually posted about this earlier today in the group about Snipply and how we're using it to grow our email list, to actually sell products. I love it. And it's been a huge win for us. And basically, the analogy I give here is that it's not even an analogy. I don't know why I said that. It just sounded right. Every time your business shares an article on social, so a lot of businesses, if you have an active social, you have a community manager, you might be sharing third-party articles every single day. Every single time you're sharing an article outside your ecosystem without using a tool like Snipply, you're literally just losing money and you're losing prospects. The cool thing with Snipply is it basically allows you to overlay your own call to action onto any website. So you find an article on Fox News that you want to share to your conservative list, you can use Snipply to create a Snipply link and add an email capture form at the bottom of the website that looks like it's placed there by the person that owns the website, by Fox News, that says, hey, I want to get the best Donald Trump news delivered to your inbox, put your email address in here. It's so easy, and so we have these call to actions that we can easily, with a Chrome extension, add on top of any article. So before we share anything nowadays, we add a Snipply link to it and then add a call to action on top of it. So basically, every time we're sharing an article, whether it's our blog or a third-party article, we're getting potential customers, potential leads, because we have some type of call to action embedded on the page. So Snipply's killer. The other cool thing about Snipply is that on like a pro account, you can install your Facebook pixel. So we have our Facebook pixel on there, so we can actually create custom audiences of people that read the different articles. We have a conversion snippet on our e-com store, so we can see from the person that clicked on this article we shared all the way to the purchase point and track conversions that way. So it's a great tool for driving organic traffic from third-party sites to your website and your ecosystem. And it's a must-use tool. All the big players, Neil Patel uses it. A lot of heavy hitters use it for their marketing. Jason, sorry, I was wrong. It's called getmoreproof.com. So there's a lot of them out there. Let's see, Get More Proof. Check this out. Double your conversions. Proof helps you skyrocket conversion rate to 350% by delivering intelligent social proof on your sales funnel. Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is a little different than what I was talking about. These are kind of the live sales tickers. We've been using this on Startup Drugs since day one. We use a tool called Credible for Shopify. We actually, our stores on their screenshots on the Shopify App Store, because we were one of their first customers and the biggest customer. This is like a must-use app for any Shopify store, or any store, any website that has a conversion objective. You need to have something like this. Basically, what these apps do is they look at all your recent purchases and they show a little sales ticker in the bottom of the page every 5 to 30 seconds. So you get that busy store feeling when you're shopping and you don't feel alone. So people on a new e-com store might feel uncertain about buying because they don't know if anybody's on the store and if anybody's bought from the store before. This gives them that little nudge of confidence they need to say, hey, Max from Orlando just bought this 5 minutes ago. So Get More Proof is which is called Proof, is a great tool. I've heard about them for a lot of funnels. Credible is a big one for Startup Drugs, for Shopify and all those stores that are in there. DJ, this is a Facebook Live, so as soon as it's done, it'll be here forever. And so you can go back and watch it as many times as you would like. Let's see. All right. Do we got any final questions, thoughts, provoking statements? If not, I might end this a little early. I think a 45-minute Facebook Live Q&A is a good start for our first one. I want to do this every Monday, and hopefully as the group grows, we're about to hit 500 members, which is exciting because it's all just been word of mouth so far. So I think as the group grows, we get more people in here. I'm kind of constantly bringing in heavy hitters that I think can bring a lot more value than I can, because my goal is to not just be dependent on me. I want to bring in people that are really smart and good at everything. So I'll actually be on the 16th. I'll be in New York at there's a 25-person Shopify e-com mastermind that I was invited to by Adam Altus from Shopify, which is really exciting. Ezra Firestone, who's just an incredible guy and I've looked up to for a long time, will be there. A lot of other big heavy hitters will be there. I'll actually be speaking at Ezra's mastermind in August, which I'm super thrilled about. Like a year ago, I was watching all this stuff and like just looking up to him, and like one day I'd love to just meet the guy and talk to him. And he called me a few weeks ago and invited me to speak at the mastermind. So it was really, really cool, and that was kind of a game-changing moment for me. So I'll be speaking a lot this summer at a lot of cool events, and I'm sure I'll get to bring in some more brilliant people into the group at these events. So that's my goal, is to get some of these guys and girls to come into the Facebook Ad IQ and share their insight and their knowledge. Try to get them to share it for free, as much as possible at least, and answer some questions. So that's all I got today. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask in the comments after this. I'll check the comments routinely, so I'll reply to any questions that come up after the Facebook Live, obviously. If not, I'll leave you guys with that. Hope everyone has an awesome Monday evening and a great week. Thanks, everyone.